The winning blueprint presents.
Draft Zone.
Welcome to the Draft Zone. I'm your host, Luke. Thank you for joining me. This is the draft game. Here with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who hold the number 2 overall selection in the 2013 draft. And in the draft game, we only deal with first round selections. So what we're going to do is look back at recent history at the number 2 selection, which is what the Jacksonville Jaguars currently hold in the 2013 draft in the first round, and go from the year 2000 up until now and look back at the number 2 overall selection, grade it out, and we'll be using a baseball connotation grading system, essentially. Single, double, triple, home run, or a strikeout for the player drafted at that pick. And so we'll also take into consideration the Jacksonville Jaguars drafting history, and we'll use those to project what the Jacksonville Jaguars will probably do at the number 2 overall selection in the draft. This list here in front of you is one that I've put together of every single player drafted in the National Football League since 2000 to 2012 in the first round, picks 1 through 32. So we'll look at every player drafted in the first round at pick number 2 to give us a little bit of background as to what the Jacksonville Jaguars could be in store for. So let's look at the history of the number 2 selection, starting with the year 2000, working our way up to 2012, and grading these players out. So look at 2000, LeVar Arrington. Solid, productive career. Could have been better if not cut short by injuries. Maybe this guy's a triple or a home run. Instead, it's just a double. You look at Leonard Davis in 2001. Again, another solid career. Nothing earth-shattering, but a very good guard/tackle for his career. Leonard Davis grades out at a double. You look at 2002, Julius Peppers. Home run. Home run. That guy has been ultra productive at the defensive end position for the duration of his career, and I'd venture to say that when he hangs him up, we'll be talking about potentially him entering the Hall of Fame. So that's a home run in my book. Charles Rogers. That's the epitome of a strikeout. Bat never leaves his shoulders. He watches 3 straight pitches go right down the middle. Doesn't swing, doesn't offer. His career was over before it ever got started. Bad pick at number 2 for the Detroit Lions in 2003. You look at 2004, Robert Gallery. He barely made it out of the strikeout zone. He made it out of Oakland, was able to salvage his career somewhat in Seattle, and so he ends up with a single in 2004. Look at 2005, Ronnie Brown. You want to give him a double, but Ronnie Brown really hasn't done anything in his career. When you look at his numbers, they're very underwhelming. So Ronnie Brown is a single at the number 2 pick in 2005. You look at 2006, Reggie Bush. Reginald Bush. A double. If not for his special teams prowess, I'd venture to say that he could be right in that Ronnie Brown conversation, but because he brings extra added value in the receiving game as well as in special teams, I think Reggie Bush is worthy of a double. And he's been playing a lot better of late. Let's see what Reggie Bush's career ends up being, but right now it's a double. You look at 2007, Calvin Johnson. Heavens to Megatron! Come on now. Do I have to tell you? That's a home run. Easy. Megatron is absolutely a no-doubter. I'm talking about a bomb tape measure shot. We're talking about 500 feet, dead center. No doubter. Center fielder never moved. Calvin Johnson is absolutely a home run. Look at 2008, Chris Long. Triple. He's been really good for the St. Louis Rams since they drafted him. He's a double-digit sack getter in this league. Chris Long is a triple. You look at 2009, Jason Smith. Rams, not so much this time. Ugh. Strikeout. Strike three. Out. Jason Smith never amounted to anything in the league. He's a strikeout. So you look at 2010, Ndamukong Suh. You got to give this guy a triple. Whether you love him, you hate him, or indifferent, the guy is a baller at the defensive tackle position. He warrants a triple, and that's exactly what Ndamukong Suh is right now. He legged it out. Stand-up triple. Didn't have to slide. Ndamukong Suh right now is a triple. You look at 2011, Von Miller. I don't like giving out home runs to guys who have only been in the league 2 years, but this guy is without a doubt a home run. This guy has been an absolute monster since entering the league. 18.5 sacks in 2012. What can I say? Von Miller is a threat at defensive end. He gets to the quarterback. He makes things happen. How can you not grade him out of the home run, even though it's very early in his career? And again, I don't like giving out home runs this early in a career, but barring a catastrophic injury, I don't see how Von Miller doesn't. And again, before I move on, not only do we look at production, stats, numbers on the field, we also look at a projection over time as well. So I'm not only looking at Von Miller's production on the field in his first 2 seasons, I'm also projecting that over the course of his career. You got to say that after what you've seen in 2 seasons, Von Miller is a home run. So you look at 2012, I cannot give a quarterback, or any player for that matter, a home run after 1 season. You got to play at least 2 years for me to be able to feel comfortable enough in saying that you're a home run. So Robert Griffin III is a triple. And again, I hold quarterbacks to a higher standard, which most people do. I am no different. Quarterbacks are in a league of their own. And so if you have no Super Bowl title under your belt, you can go no further than a triple. Robert Griffin III is a triple as of right now. So now let's look at the Jacksonville Jaguars draft history, and let's see how the Jaguars themselves have done in the draft since 2000 up until 2012, and see what they've been able to accomplish in the first round when they have selected. So we start in 2000 with R.J. Soward. And if you remember, his career was soured. I remember R.J. Soward coming in. He was supposed to be extremely fast, but he couldn't catch. Strikeout for R.J. Soward. You look at 2001, Marcus Stroud. This was a really good pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars. You guys had probably one of the best defensive tackle tandems in the league for about a good 5 or 6 year period. And so Marcus Stroud was a big part of that tandem, along with John Henderson. We'll get to him in a second. Stroud is worth a triple. I thought this was a great pick by the Jaguars, and he had a really good career. You look at John Henderson in 2002. I just talked about the tandem that he and Stroud forged at defensive tackle. He's a double. He was extremely solid with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Love John Henderson. He was a double. You look at Byron Leftwich. Just didn't pan out the way you thought he was going to in Jacksonville. Didn't amount to anything anywhere else. A career backup after leaving Jacksonville. A single for Byron Leftwich. You look at Reggie Williams. Man, did I like Reggie Williams. Big physical 6'4" receiver out of Washington. You were waiting for him to just have the light bulb come on, and it just never did. And I always wondered, why isn't the Jacksonville Jaguars resigning Reggie Williams? And then I realized it's not just the play on the field or lack thereof. The guy was a knucklehead off of the field as well. And so you got to know when to cut your losses. You did. Reggie Williams gets a single. You look at Matt Jones. Man, I love Matt Jones. Here's another Jacksonville Jaguars receiver that you look at and you say, he had all the intangibles. 6'4", ran a 4.3 40 at the combine. He was wrong because he was a quarterback at Arkansas, but he could catch, and he had a frame, and he could run, but you never really got to see the speed in Jacksonville. He was only good for red zone catches and using that frame to go up and catch the football. You would have loved to have seen Matt Jones really excel in the league, but it just never happened. I hate to do this, but Matt Jones is a strikeout. So you look at Mercedes Lewis. So you get back on track here. After a single and a strikeout, Mercedes Lewis is a solid double for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 2006 draft. You look at 2007, Reggie Nelson. He should still be in Jacksonville. Let's face it, he's not. He's playing really well in Cincinnati right now. He should still be in Jacksonville, but the fact of the matter is, it's not the team and the pick, it's the player that we're talking about here. I think Reggie Nelson right now in his career has been a double. You look at Derek Harvey in the 2008 draft. This is a no-brainer. I really didn't like the pick when it was made. It's a strikeout. Out! So you move on to 2009 with Eugene Monroe, another solid draft pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars. He turned out to be really good. I thought he was going to be another one of those Jason Smith picks. He turned out to be really solid, didn't Eugene Monroe? He's a double. So now we go to 2010 and we look at Tyson Alualu. He's been solid. He hasn't been anything great, anything earth-shattering, but you can count on him for about 3.5 sacks every year. He's a double. I like Tyson Alualu a lot. He's solid in the run game. He can get after the quarterback. Double. Blaine Gabbert. I'm really hard on Blaine Gabbert because I didn't think that he should have been a top 20 pick. He was. He was a top 10 pick, actually. You guys traded up to get him. And so, as much as I want to call this guy a strikeout, I don't like calling young quarterbacks strikeouts. I don't like projecting strikeouts on guys who haven't been in the league more than 2 seasons. I'll give him a 3rd season to hang himself. If he does, then this will be a strikeout. But as of right now, Blaine Gabbert is a single. He had to slide to get into first base safely, but it's a single nonetheless. Blaine Gabbert grades out as a single right now. 2012 yields you Justin Blackmon. And I think a lot of people were really hard on him in his rookie campaign. I think people were turned off by the off-the-field shenanigans of Justin Blackmon before he even set foot on the field. And so he came into this league with a prima donna image and label, and then he gets the DUI. It doesn't look good. And then he starts the season off sort of slow. In his defense, the quarterback situation in Jacksonville in 2012 was abysmal. Yet he still was able to amass 64 catches for 865 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's a really good season for a wide receiver, let alone a rookie, which I think is one of the hardest positions to come in and play. I say that you give him a double right now. That's a really good rookie campaign for Justin Blackmon. Sky's the limit if he can continue to play football the way he did in the 2012 season. I say you give the man a double and you move on. So you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it's a solid single over their first round selecting history from years 2000 to 2012. It's a single. Nothing wrong with that. You had a couple of strikeouts in there that really brought you down. R.J. Soward, Matt Jones. You sprinkle in a few singles in the mix, brings that average down tremendously. But you've had some gems in there. Don't allow those strikeouts to cloud the fact that you had guys like John Henderson, Marcus Stroud, Eugene Monroe in there. And so Mercedes Lewis, you've had some really good first round overall selections. So I think that the Jaguars at 2 need to be very careful, because we've seen guys like Jason Smith be selected. We've seen guys like Charles Rogers be picked at number 2. There is a trap to be fallen into if you're not careful, if you don't do your homework. You could go Geno Smith at 2 and regret it. He could turn out to be a great pick. You don't really know. I feel like at 2, you need to hit a home run. Now, if you go for the fences, if you swing for the fences, there's a good chance that you could strike out. So you could go on the safe side, draft a double. And by drafting a double, a guy like Sharif Floyd would be a double. Star Lotulelei would be a double. But if you're looking to hit a home run, I think you need to go with Dion Jordan, the defensive end / outside linebacker out of Oregon. This guy has all the intangibles you look for in a guy that can get to the quarterback. He can check tight ends if you need him to in a pinch. Look, you need to swing for the fences if you're the Jaguars. You can't play small ball. Hitting doubles and singles, that's nice. The occasional sacrifice like a Matt Jones, they help a little. But you need to hit a home run here. Squeeze the bat a little tighter. Get the grip where you want it, and then relax. Loosen up. Let the fingers flow. And swing for the fences. And I think Dion Jordan is exactly that. You draft anyone else there, you're just being safe at that point. You're looking to get a single or a double. And if you want to do that, that's fine. But if you want a home run, you want a guy that comes in and can immediately have an impact on this team, I think Dion Jordan is the guy you need to select. And I think that's what the Jacksonville Jaguars will ultimately do at number 2. History says you combined the number 2 selections over the years and you grade them out. You average that out. It's a double. And we just graded the Jacksonville Jaguars out, and it grades out to a single. So you put those 2 together, you're looking at a single, essentially. A really solid single. And history says that you're supposed to draft a double right here. But I'm not buying that. Does it have to be that way? You can make it that way by not drafting Dion Jordan. You can draft yourself a double, potentially strike out, or you could swing for the fences, make contact, and watch it fly by drafting Dion Jordan. And ultimately, I think that's what the Jacksonville Jaguars will do. And that's going to do it for the Jacksonville Jaguars here in the draft game.